All right, good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Waller. So welcome to the YouTube video series that I like to do for you guys. Again, I told you at that build quality introduction, I'm gonna do my best to keep you guys updated throughout this entire process. As we move on to different phases of the build, I wanna kind of keep you guys involved in what we're doing out here, and this is part of how I accomplish that. So as you can see, we've obviously got your foundation poured. We're 100% ready to go for framing next week. We've also got our guy out here right now. He's actually delivering all of the lumber material that we need right now for step 3 or phase 3 of our build, which is where we actually start going vertical on the house. If you can remember that from that build quality introduction, we've kind of broke this whole entire process up into different phases, and this would be the phase 3 of the build. They call it the build quality frame inspection timeline. Again, the capstone of that would have been the sheathing and strapping inspection, but we still have a few days to go before we come close to getting there. So again, our frame process is typically about a 9-day process for us. I can tell you that it's been taking them a little bit longer than 9 days to frame these houses. They're really big houses, and it's just been taking them a little bit longer to frame the house, which at the end of the day isn't the end of the world. We've actually kind of accommodated for that in our schedule anyway, so we shouldn't see any schedule delays because of that. But in any case, there's a few things at this point in time that I like to kind of showcase to you guys as far as what we do to kind of maintain quality of your concrete. So as you can already see, if you've been looking at your slab here, you see all these lines that we have cut into the concrete. This is what we call control joints. So we actually bring a cart out here with a saw on it that's set to a specific depth, and we cut these control joints into your slab. About every 10 by 10 or 15 by 15 feet, you're gonna have what looks like control joints cut into the slab. And what that does, it actually helps us control shrinkage cracking on your foundation or your home. We also do the same kind of process on any of the flat work that we pour here, except we actually call those, it's a tooled joint. They just use a tool to actually give us that expansion joint in there. We also use expansion joint material anywhere that we have a porch poured that touches your main foundation. What that allows us to do is it allows the concrete to actually expand and contract, and it's actually going to control cracking a lot better than it would if you didn't have that material there. So just another thing that we kind of focus on to try to maintain the quality of your concrete here. Another thing that's kind of unique is all of our drain line pass-throughs that you see right here. You notice they got the pink dots on them. This is where I've actually gone through and inspected all of these prior to us pouring concrete, just to make sure that they have the decoupling material that you see on there. What I mean by the decoupling material, it's actually right here. We just want to make sure that we have a way to separate the concrete from that pipe. Again, it's going to allow for expansion and contraction of the concrete and or the pipe if necessary, and it's not going to lead to defects in your underground plumbing. So it's another thing that we look for. Again, anywhere that I have water that's going to be moving through one of those drain lines, something that I like to check for and make sure that they have it. The last thing I want to point out to you guys is all these little guys right here. This is what we call mud sill anchors. This is one way that we're actually able to hold the foundation or hold the bottom plate or the entire house essentially down to the foundation of your home, is through these little bottom plate connections right here. So the engineer actually requires these to be spaced out every so often here, so that when we install that first wall right here, they're going to overlap those two little fingers over the bottom plate, and they're going to take 6 nails and nail those off to the bottom plate. There's a bunch more engineering that goes into the house. This is always just a really good time to kind of show you that specific feature of your home. And it actually works in conjunction with these guys right here. I call these hurricane straps. There's a nomenclature for them. I'm not going to get too detailed on those straps though, but essentially they're doing the same thing. Those will actually get nailed into a stud pack. Once the wall here actually gets framed up, it's going to get lapped up the side of the wall, and it's going to get nailed off to a stud pack. Again, just giving us a little bit more hold down potential there on the house. Other than that, I'm not going to bore you guys too much. We're going to talk a little bit more about this stuff when we get to the build quality orientation, but I just want to kind of give you guys an introduction into the video series that we're going to start doing here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, call, text, shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys on the next update.